Hello and welcome to the first ever podcast episode of Pie Guy and Brodeur. One voice, two minds. My name is Pie Guy and I will be your host for this episode and the many more I'm hoping to make with my one and only pal, Brodeur of Brodeurland, Mr. Brodeur. Hey everybody, Mr. Brodeur here. Yes, me and Pie Guy are hoping to really team up and really peel back the layers of myself, Brodeurland, and these words of the week that I've come up with so you can better understand why is it that I created Brodeurland? Why is it that I wanted the word perseverance or self-control? And what does it mean in my life? Where have I used it in my life? So I'm really excited. And you know what, Pie Guy? We don't have to meet once a year on Pie Day anymore because we'll be teaming up and making these episodes. That's right, Mr. Brodeur. And I'm really excited about that. So you know what? I'm ready to slice right in and really peel back the layers of the origins of Brodeurland, right? Where did it all start? Me too, Pie Guy. So you know what? Start sending the questions at me. Start asking away because I'm ready to peel back the layers and really allow people to hopefully be inspired through this story, but also learn a little bit about who I am, what makes me me, and what helped Brodeurland come to be. Well, I will sure enough do that right now, Mr. Brodeur. And so first off, we'll start off with a little bit of an easier question. Hopefully it's an easy question. Well, I hope it is too, Pie Guy. So what is it? Well, here it is, Mr. Brodeur. Most of us listening or watching, right? We know you as being a teacher, right? Brodeurland lives in education. You're an 8th grade math teacher. So why did you want to become a teacher? Good question, Pie Guy. So yeah, I guess when I reflect back on my life, there's definitely some pivotal moments that I say, here are some moments, I guess, connecting the dots, as you will, as I reflect back, that really led me to this journey of becoming a teacher, creating Brodeurland, and all this stuff. And first and foremost, I would go back to my 8th grade social studies teacher, Mr. Panner. He was definitely a motivational teacher. He had great stories. He loved to entertain, and he always came with some surprising element every day to class. You just never knew what was going to happen. And you know what the kicker is, Pie Guy? What's the kicker, Mr. Brodeur? Well, he even had his own kind of partner in crime. He called him Panter Man, his own little mascot of, social studies, Mr. Panner, right? I like it, Mr. Brodeur. It's kind of like, how Pie Guy myself is kind of like a co-partner in Brodeurland. That's right, Pie Guy. It's almost like Batman and Robin. I don't know if I like that metaphor, Mr. Brodeur, because, I kind of look at Robin as a sidekick and me as that kind of partner, co-partner. Hey. I'm not trying to hurt any feelings, Pie Guy. I see you as an equal. Don't worry. Good, Mr. Brodeur, because I can turn on you. Hey. Let's make this G-rated podcast. Okay, Mr. Brodeur. Anyways, keep going. So you had Mr. Panner right here. And so Mr. Panner definitely was inspiration for you, Mr. Brodeur. So what kept moving you along? So sure, Mr. Panner had that fire, that joy, that happiness, that excitement. So he was definitely a good model. Really got me interested in, hey, maybe I would want to be a teacher, right? Then you fast forward into high school. And my second year, my sophomore year of high school, I was, due to scheduling reasons, put into a lower math class just because of some weird quirk in the schedule. They couldn't get my classes situated. And so no big deal. Math was my favorite subject. Came easy to me. So I was like, I won't have to think so much about this class. I'll just go through it, learn what I need to do. But anyways, when I was in that class, I found myself helping a lot of my fellow classmates and, really finding that joy, that fire, that happiness, and really seeing that success that they're seeing, the light bulb moments, and almost kind of in a sense, teaching some of my fellow classmates around me. And then even a neighbor down the street that next semester was taking geometry, and they said, hey, our daughter's doing really poorly in math, and we need some help. And I know Timmy, aka Mr. Brodeur, really did good in geometry. Is there any way he could tutor her? And so, of course, throughout the upcoming weeks, a couple times a week, I'd go down there, tutor, help her. And again, I felt that fire. I found that happiness. I found that joy. And I thought, okay, Mr. Penner lit the fuse on kind of being a teacher. This is kind of lighting the fuse on being a math teacher. And then the final pivotal moment of kind of teaching and kind of that career, it was in college. And so, of course, I went to college, West Georgia. And when I went there, of course, I was majoring in math, minoring in education, so I could be a math teacher. But then I had another calling, and that calling was to the priesthood. Whoa, hold the phone, Mr. Brodeur. Did you just say priesthood? That's right, Pie Guy. I was thinking about becoming a priest. Wow, Mr. Brodeur, I did not know that about you. So you're saying a priest. I need you to please elaborate on this, Mr. Brodeur, because, I'm thinking teaching and all this stuff. I guess priesthood, being a priest, is a teacher. So elaborate for not only for our viewers and listeners, but also for myself. I need to know more about this. All right, bye, guy. I sure will. So, of course, in college, I was discerning to becoming a priest, right? And so during that time, I met with the local priest, Father Rafa, and he was a great mentor figure. I still meet with him today for, spiritual advice and just really keeping myself morally intact and moving forward and seeing what to do next. But during that time, he was that great mentor figure, and he gave me a beautiful opportunity to live at the church my final year of college and really kind of shadow him, see what a day in the life is of a priest. And so I was able to help out with the Sunday Mass and all the kind of daily masses if I was available and I didn't have class, help out with baptisms and weddings and funerals and go visit people at their houses. So I had a great experience of really understanding what it was to be a priest, but also my final year of college, I was also a full-time student teacher my last semester. So I was really able to see both worlds. Very interesting, Mr. Brodeur. So you were able to kind of really put yourself into these situations and really see what was best for you. Yes, and that's why I really enjoy these experiences, because it was a great insight into what is it that I want to do. Now, I will have to ask you this, Mr. Brodeur. We all know you didn't choose the priesthood because you're sitting here talking about Brodeurland, and if I'm not mistaken, you're an 8th grade math teacher with Brodeurland. That's true, Pie Guy. So, yeah, cat's out of the bag, right? I'm definitely not a priest right now. So the question is, well, why, right? So going through, hitting the kind of January time of my final year of college, right? I had to start making that decision. I was going through a lot of interviews. The next choice was, where was I going to be sent to seminary, right, to become a priest? So I had to choose, was I going to take that leap and go into seminary, or was I going to go into teaching? And along the road, there was one thing I was always wrestling with. And that thing that I was always wrestling with was that aspect of a family, that immediate family. I was the oldest of 4 in my family. And so I was used to taking care of my younger siblings, and I just always wanted to have a family of my own, kids of my own. Now, as I was shadowing and seeing how it was to be, a priest during my pastoral year at Our Lady of Perpetual Help, I realized, okay, maybe I can be a community father. I could look at it as a community family. But over that year, I just couldn't get over it. There was just something in my heart that was still yearning for a family. Not that I had a girlfriend or anything of that nature at that time, but that was just resonating still. So, of course, I said, you know what? I got to go into teaching. I can't make that commitment, because it's almost like if I was getting engaged with the seminary, getting engaged with the priesthood, but cheating on it with this idea of, well, I still want an immediate family, right? So my mentor priest, Father Rafa, gave me some great advice. He said, you know what? Take 5 years. There's no rush. Go in, become a teacher, and just take your experiences, run with it. And you know what? In 5 years' time, if you want to still become a priest, no big deal. We'll re-look at that time. And of course, during those 5 years, I meet my future wife. And then, of course, me and my wife now have 3 beautiful kids and, great family. Of course, I will not say it is perfect. There are definitely times where Mr. Brodeur is not his best version of himself when the little ones start acting up. But that is all in the human experience, right? But anyways, yes. So, of course, I chose the teaching route. And here I am right now. Mr. Brodeur, you're not getting away that easy because I still got some questions. Hey, no problem, Pie Guy. What's your next question? Well, here's my next question. Now, I don't want to be harsh and don't want you to take this the wrong way. Don't worry, Pie Guy. What is it? Well, here it is, Mr. Brodeur. Do you have any regrets with that decision? I mean, it seemed like a major one to make. And, I guess, how did it push you forward into this Brodeurland creation? Yeah, good question, Pie Guy. No, I don't have any regrets. Like I said before, I had some great experiences, and I could pull from those experiences and really learn from that wisdom, that knowledge, and everything that I gained, whether it was from student teaching or living at the church shadowing the priest. But I wouldn't be lying if I didn't tell you, it does bother me sometimes. Yeah, I do look and go, what if I was a priest, right? So throughout that time, after choosing the teaching route, I asked myself, okay, well, how can I apply it into my life? How can I apply it into my family? How can I apply it into my job? Well, Mr. Brodeur, how can you? Did you? That's the question we're all waiting for you to answer. That's right, Pie Guy. So I will tell you this. When I went into teaching, of course, I had to get my feet wet, kind of get into a rhythm, right? But as it went, I started trying to infuse some of my gifts, some of my talents, some of my passions, right? And so when I grew up with Mr. Rogers' neighborhood, Fred Rogers, right? And so throughout my years of teaching, there eventually came out a documentary called Won't You Be My Neighbor, a documentary about Mr. Rogers, right? And what I learned is there was so many similarities to myself and Mr. Rogers. I wanted to be a priest. He wanted to be a minister in his faith belief, right? And so he actually went to seminary, but at the end, he didn't want to be a minister at a church. He wanted to be it on television. And so that's, of course, where you get Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. So in the documentary, at the end, what was a big wake-up call for myself was this part right here where this person at the end, he says, we're all looking for what would Mr. Rogers do, right? What would Mr. Rogers do now? And I asked myself, yeah, what would Mr. Rogers do? And then I thought, who is the next Mr. Rogers? So I'll be honest, I spent probably over a month researching and trying to figure out who is today's Mr. Rogers. And I'll be honest, I couldn't find an answer, a flat out answer. And so then I reflected on that last quote that guy was talking about. He said, what would Fred Rogers do? It's not so much about that. It's about what are you going to do? And that's when I thought, what am I going to do? Because you know what? I'm over here trying to find out who the next Mr. Rogers is. You know what? Time to become the solution. Time to branch together my job, my vocation, just like Mr. Rogers did. Let's start stirring the pot. Let's start changing the teaching profession a little bit. Interesting, Mr. Brodeur. So you look to Mr. Rogers as, I guess you would say, your inspiration to branch together your vocation, your passions, your gifts with your job, your life, your family. It sounds like you wish to continue what he started. Yeah, and that's true, Pie Guy, because I will tell you this. If you go back a couple years, I think it was around 2021, I had the hardest year of my teaching career. Wow, hardest career, Mr. Brodeur? Or hardest year of your career? Yes, Pie Guy. In the middle school setting, I teach 5 classes a day and talk about, oh my gosh, it took me half a year to really understand these students that year. And I remember finally getting a good breakthrough. And I thought, all right, I'm getting this. I'm finding new ways. They're making me a better teacher. And I remember at the end of the year going, I'm so grateful that they pushed me to the next limit. And I was able to really persevere through that moment. So anyways, I was like, all right, now for the next year. But before the year was over, the principal pulled me in and he said, I want you to move up with these students into 8th grade. And I was teaching 7th grade at the time. And I was like, oh my gosh. In the back of my head, I was like, are you kidding me? So I thought, all right, new challenge, let's get rolling. But that's when I thought, okay, what would Mr. Rogers do? How can I be that solution? What am I going to do about it? And so, I thought I'll start adding in a Mr. Rogers intro and a Mr. Rogers end to each of the weeks. So like Mr. Rogers starts his show, It's a Beautiful Week. I just started my class, It's a Beautiful Week in this math classroom, a beautiful week for a math class. Would you join me? And so on, right? And then at the end of the week, I would do his I guess you would say end of his episode songs, right? Show song, where it would say, it's such a good feeling to know you're alive. It's such a happy feeling. You're growing inside. And when you wake up ready to say, I think I'll make a snappy new day. And so I got a lot of inspiration from him and thought, okay, it's not all about math. It's also about inspiring these kids to become the best version of themselves and to push them to the next level. And along the road, we'll learn some math as we go. And so that's when I started throwing Mr. Rogers and trying to create this Brodeurland and trying to infuse everything that I've learned, the experiences that I had, the successes, the failures, and really wrapping it up and connecting the dots along the way right there. I love it, Mr. Brodeur. Now, you said about connecting the dots. Can you elaborate on that? Because it sounds like now, as Brodeurland is starting to create with this harder crew that you had to teach, that you were able to pull back from your experiences or pull from, I guess you would say, your experiences and really start to make a difference. Yes, that's exactly it, Pie Guy. Because here's the deal. Of course, we all have our passions. We all have our goals. A lot of us, we might not get to those passions we had, those dreams we had. But here's a quote that really resonates with me that I heard from Mike Rowe, who, of course, was the host of Dirty Jobs, if you ever seen that. But he says this, so many of us, we go and we try to follow our passions. He says, don't follow your passions. Bring your passions with you. Wait, Mr. Brodeur, this seems confusing. You're telling me and the viewers, don't follow your dreams? No. That's not what I'm saying. So let me kind of finish, Pie Guy, the quote. Yes, it does kind of seem like, don't follow your passions, don't follow your dreams. What? But bring your passions with you. Seek an opportunity. So he keeps going. He says, seek an opportunity, get good at it, and apply your passions to it. You see, here's the deal. So many times in our lives, we may say, this is what I want to do. And we get there and go, well, this isn't what I wanted to do. I thought this was going to be a lot different, right? At the end of the day, you got to seek an opportunity. You got to choose something, right? You got to get good at it. But start applying your fingerprint to that job, to that teaching career, to that sport, to that activity, to that 9-to-5 job, whatever it is. Take something ordinary and do it in an unusual way. And that's what I've done. I've taken my passions of my creativity of making songs, my passions of building confidence, my passions of trying to motivate myself and other people to become the best versions of themselves, and morph it into what you would call and what I would call and what all the viewers would call Brodeurland. Wow, Mr. Brodeur. So you said songs, you said, different things. Please elaborate. Like, what do you mean songs? I know some of us know you do little songs and things like that. Yeah. So, Pie Guys, so growing up, I was really into musicals. I did band and things like that. I wouldn't say I'm a beautiful singer, but I love being creative and I love taking songs that are motivational and throwing it in to my classes throughout the week. Like I said, throwing in the Mr. Rogers intro, throwing in the Mr. Rogers exit song right at the end of the week, but also throwing in some other sprinkles of songs. Also, my Brodeurland laws or goals, right? I got 2 of them. Build confidence in yourself and become the best version of yourself right there. So my whole idea of Brodeurland is to inspire, to allow people to become the best version of themselves, to take education, stir it up a little bit, and do it in an unusual way by taking the experiences and the wisdom and the knowledge that I learned from the priesthood, taking the experiences in the failures and the successes that I've had in education, taking the experiences of everything I've dealt with those 2 years I dealt with that hardest crew I've ever had to teach, and really persevering through it in formulating this now we all see as Brodeurland, the show, and now I guess you would say the podcast. I love it, Mr. Brodeur. Is there anything else? I've asked you plenty of questions and things like that. Is there anything else you would say that you would want to share with your viewers? Yes. I hope what you learned throughout today is Brodeurland didn't happen overnight. It was an accumulation of me connecting the dots by reflecting back. You see, you can't connect the dots in the moment, but you can connect the dots reflecting back. And so as I reflect now during this podcast, I start to realize, wow, all these experiences and everything I went through, and Mr. Panner to geometry in my 10th grade year, to my experiences of mentoring a priest, to my experiences of persevering through the toughest classes, all molded me to become that best version of myself, to build confidence and try things I never thought I would try, and to get out there and do something in an unusual way. Take something ordinary and do it in an unusual way. But don't be afraid. And believe me, I've had to persevere through a lot. There are times I was like, what am I doing? Is this even worth it? But it is. You just got to go out there. You got to believe in yourself. Build confidence so you can go out there and become that best version of yourself. Thank you, Mr. Brodeur. Again, I love this time together. I loved peeling back the layers and really getting to understand you, especially there are things I didn't even know about you. Becoming a priest? Really? You wanted to do that? I mean, it's just excellent to really catch up with you, buddy, and really allow viewers as well to catch up with you. So stay infinite, my friends. And you know what? In each of these episodes, I'm going to let Mr. Brodeur always end, just like you guys know he ends on his videos and things like that, because he always has a great mic drop. So Mr. Brodeur, help us end this episode in style. Sure thing, bye, guy. So always remember, you make each day a special day by just you being you. There's no one in the whole world like you except you. And I like you. We like you just the way you truly are. It's good that you exist, but you got to go out there. And you got to take those experiences in your life, those failures, those successes, and you got to go out there. You got to persevere and bring those passions into your everyday lives so you can take something ordinary and make it unusual for the better of the people that you will encounter, so you can become that best version of yourself. So until next time, Brodeur out. Peace.